Okay, guys, here we go. I got a lot to talk about, and I wish I had so much more time to share. But can I just tell you that I remember laying in this bedroom. It was a small two-bedroom apartment, and it was the first time I had a live-in girlfriend, meaning friend. And she stayed in her bedroom, I stayed in mine, and, there were times that in a friendship, when I was really down, I could open up to her about anything. She was very understanding, very loving, very patient. I didn't have to worry about her coming on to me because she's not attracted to girls either. So it was a very strict friend relationship. There were times that, of course, when you needed a hug, there was a hug there and stuff like that, but that's about as far as it went. And I could talk to her about anything openly. So I'm trying to, and I feel really bad about this because this gentleman's helping me out in so many ways, but in the same token, can I be honest, at this time in 2010, the very beginning of 2010, after getting this guitar for Christmas, I want to get my head straightened out. I really, really want to get my head straightened out because I want to have a good life. I want to have a healthy relationships with people. I want to be better. I believe that I can be better. So I started getting excited. I'm thinking, so a lot of other people, though, they were beating me up because, and same with him, is because why are you doing that for her? Why are you doing that for her? She's using you. She's taking advantage of you. No, I wasn't. Somewhere in this planet of billions of people, I came to the point in my life I really did need somebody. What am I going to do? I needed somebody in my life. And now I'm past and beyond the way our relationship started off bad, but it already started getting better because I was separated. And I know that let me just say that, and I mean this respectfully, he was needy. He needed to be with someone. I needed to get to heal mentally first. And can I just say that even to this day, I love him very much. And I wish that we could have took our time instead of, but he really needs to be with somebody now. It's that kind of personality where I was just everything I've been through. I needed time to heal first and figure things out. And it took me a very long time. So, ended up becoming where he became like a daddy to me, like a dad. And I needed that, and a lot of people didn't understand that. And I hope to this day that it would break my heart when he doesn't accept me as his daughter. I don't know if he does or not, but I know sometimes I think he does, and in other times I think that he doesn't. So that's where I began to feel like he was fitting in. This roommate was my sister. He was kind of like a dad to me that I needed so bad at that time in my life. Even if we're just role-playing, I need that. Everybody else has turned their back on me. So I'm watching all these programs and I'm believing. And can I tell you that subscribing to their Facebook page, reading their online stories on their blogs and watching their videos, listening to their audios, reading their books, Joyce and Joel Ministries, can I tell you that I was foolish and I believed in everything that I was reading? Because you start believing, you want to believe, you want to get your head straight. So you start believing this unbelievable stuff because maybe that's been your problem your whole life. Maybe you just haven't believed. I'm trying so hard. My doctor says I think negative. Let's think positive. And to me, Joel Osteen was one of the most positive people I ever saw in my life. And I was so desperate, so hungry to get my head straight. And I want to live a happy life. So I'm writing and writing and writing. I don't know where these songs are coming from. I mean, they're just pouring out of my heart. But can I tell you that I didn't have the support as a musician? I'm dealing with this being a transgender. Listen, don't get upset when I say this, but I've never been into karaoke. If I did do karaoke, I like it better when I make my own soundtrack to my own music and go in and share my songs that way. But I like to play my guitar and I like to sing. And I like to go to writer nights. I'm not much into cover songs either. I love to go to places where other writers are. And I love to connect with them and things. So that's why I always love Nashville so much. So In 2010, that's the way I'm feeling. I'm feeling like God has blessed me. This must be it. I'm becoming a songwriter, and songs that are coming out of me are blowing my mind. And more than anything, do I want the opportunity to go down to Nashville and share my songs there and connect with other people. And, I get my songs heard. And who knows where they could go. I believed in them, and I believed in what I was doing, and I believed that God had a calling and a purpose for my life. And since all these songs are coming out, that must be it. So, as I'm living there, I was broken. I was totally broken. I'm lucky if I could hold my head up or walk outside. I just kind of hunched over and held myself down because I just I went through so much mentally. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't hold my head high anymore and smile because I felt like a total outcast everywhere I went. Even amongst my own community, I did, of people. So, it seemed like no matter where I went, at first when I was in Ohio, because it's hard for me to learn things. It takes me a lot longer than the average person. It could take me years to learn what you learn in a couple hours or a couple minutes. I'm struggling with this. So I really didn't want to go backwards in life. And what I mean by that is I didn't want to end up going back to the things I walked away from. I was in the music business, and I did it as a business, and I did cover songs, and I changed my whole image. And let me tell you something, I had success, worldly success and financial success, but I did not have happiness success. So me being a transsexual songwriter, wanting to do nothing more than my own music and minister, and God's calling me into a ministry, I would have never thought that he's calling me into a bar room to sing my songs. I gotta be honest, you can laugh at this if you want, but why would I be called to go back into the same thing that I felt I had to get away from? I'm trying to get away from the alcohol. I'm trying to get away from the drama. I'm trying to get away from doing cover songs and changing my whole image. I don't know what to do with this. And within the LGBT community, at that time, I wasn't seeing a whole lot of acoustic shows or gatherings. I don't want to be in a box. Not that I don't want to communicate with people like that, but I don't want to be in a box, and I want to connect with the whole world. And let me tell you something, Nashville, every time I went down there, I always had a great time. I just never was smart enough to put together a plan to how I could relocate down there. But what I wanted more than anything at that time, and I started realizing that I'm giving songs, I want to get my life straightened out. And I want to move down there to Nashville, and maybe I could live with another transsexual like I do here. Like if I lived how I'm living now in Ohio at that time in 2010, if I lived down there in Nashville, my whole life would feel whole. Because I could go to the writer nights, I'd have a friend to connect with, and all I need yet is just a job. Just a job to meet half of my obligations. And I believed in myself, and I believed in this God that eventually things will work out. Maybe I just have to let go of trying to control everything all the time. Well, as I'm putting this stuff together and writing songs and watching all these programs, I'm starting to feel better about myself. I mean, I really am. And there's starting to be hope. But I'm still not jiving it because I don't want to go to bars again. And I want to get in, I'm feeling led into a rock and roll ministry and stuff. So can I just say, with that being said, it wasn't long after that it was very well said that the person helping me had finally gotten another house. And if they were going to help me, the best way for them to help me is if I lived with them. And I could have my own bedroom. That was not a problem. But that I should really be there. And I'm thinking logically, as long as I can stay committed to what it is that I'm doing, I want to get my head straightened out and try to figure out this ministry that God's calling me to, and I want to move on with my transition. I'm trying to balance all this out. So I continue to write and stuff. And I would cry to him, and I would tell him, I feel like God is asking me to go down to Nashville. I feel like God is asking me to go down to Nashville. I didn't know how else to go. I always escorted to pay. I don't know how else to raise finances. I'm not smart enough to raise. People raise finances for all different ways. I've never figured out how to raise finances, even to this day. I don't know how to raise finances to do various projects because everything costs some money, I don't know how to do it. Even like this video project, I didn't know how to raise money. I went into debt doing it. So I eventually ended up going down there to Nashville. And can I tell you something? I never felt so good in all my life as when I walked in in Nashville. And I had a dress on and I had my heels. I was all girly. A little bit too girly, I guess, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe not. But I know I felt very good. And when I sat on the stage, I'll never forget that I was thinking to myself, if you would have told me years ago that I would be sitting in Nashville someday on a stage in a dress and heels on singing songs that I wrote, I would have never believed it. That was a big moment in my life. And I didn't have anyone to share the joy with. I had myself. I got to meet a lot of amazing people there, the people that host the open mic nights down there, and I won't mention any names, but they're absolutely outstanding. A lot of them, whenever I would show up, would give me hugs, and they remembered me for whatever reason. And I felt like Nashville was the place I need to be. I felt like that maybe it wasn't Hollywood, I'm figuring this stuff out, and I'm believing that it's Nashville. God's calling me into a one-of-a-kind rock and roll ministry in Nashville. And can I tell you, when I would go down there, I would find myself talking to a lot of the youths that were there vacationing or whatever, and they were there to sing their songs on the stages. That's a big deal for a songwriter and for singers. People of all walks of life, they want to go down to Nashville and they want to sing. They want to experience Nashville and sing on a stage there and network with other writers from around the world and stuff like that. I mean, it's a great networking place. And the people, the mentality down there is very friendly. So it's like, it kind of felt like I was in Ohio, because everybody in Ohio, still to this day, I say they're very friendly. Even the meanest people in Ohio are some of the friendliest people I met in all the country. And now in Nashville as well, it's the same way. I mean, they're just so friendly to you. And I could actually see myself, envision myself, and I understand, I'm watching all these videos, I'm visioning myself, I could live my life down here in Nashville, maybe get involved in a church. I don't know. But I gotta get my songs heard, and somehow this is going to come together. That's in 2010, I went down there. But understand, I didn't know how else to pay for everything, so I'm going back to escorting. I didn't have a job at that time. That hasn't even crossed my mind because I'm trying to get my head straightened out and stuff. And so, with that being said, I ended up moving back into North Dayton with this gentleman, and I was given a lot of time to write on my music, write these songs. And there was times like, Let Your Love Flood Through My Soul. I woke up in the middle of the night, and this whole song, explosive in my head. I mean, and I felt like there was a choir of angels singing this to me. I had so many bizarre things happen to myself. Was it the stress? Was it polluting myself with everything because all I did is read and listen to these, this Audible and the videos and all that other stuff. That's all I did all day, and write songs. That's all I did. I didn't really do much of anything else. I was addicted. So I went down in like 2010, and I'm going to go back and forth here a little bit. This is all busting up as I'm trying to work through this. Can I just tell you that also I didn't know where to go, because within the transgender community, a lot of it was like a lot of the drag queens and stuff. They dress in costume and they lip sync to songs and stuff. So I didn't know where to go for open mic night and things. There was a gentleman that who's a writer, a well-known writer in Ohio, who was trying to help me. And he did. He did help me in many, many ways. And I loved him so much. And can I tell you that I was fighting going back to where I came out of. I didn't want to go back into singing in clubs and bar rooms and smoky environments. I was struggling with my addictions. I want to get away from this. So because nothing else is being made clear to me, I'm feeling God's calling me into a ministry, but I wasn't thinking that I was being led right back into where I came out of and been trying to get away from. And I explained that to him, and he fully understood. But I think in a way, I was just having way too many struggles at the time. I wasn't ready. So I did a couple shows with him and stuff, and it was a great experience, but it's not what I wanted in life. I wanted something new, something different, and I was believing in it. And I can tell you, I was foolish for that. Totally foolish. But that's where I was at that time in my life. I wanted to, more than anything, relocate to a city that has a lot of opportunities. I didn't want to make music about a business. I wanted to get a regular job, live with somebody, share the expenses. I didn't care about having a house. I didn't care about having material things. I really was dead set on, at that time, in moving in Nashville. I felt more than anything that that's what I needed in life. There was a time when I came back from Nashville, which it might have been in 2011, I'm not sure. This is bouncing around. That I woke up in the middle of the night to lightning. Lightning flashes. And I sat straight up. This was a time that it was before I went to Nashville or shortly after I came back. And can I tell you something? I woke up and I told my friend that what happened to me. I didn't know if I was struck by lightning or what ended up happening, but a similar experience that happened to me as a child. And of course, everybody's thinking I'm absolutely crazy. Am I crazy? I don't know, but this really happened. And let me tell you something. It kind of were comforting me and stuff, but yet in the same token, I was a big joke and I was crazy in the head. And can I tell you that eventually, shortly after that, I felt very strong, like I was being led by God to go out and about on another venture. And I ended up packing up and moving out shortly after that, a few days or a few weeks or what have you. But can I tell you that as I had my car packed, that the next door neighbor, there was a house that was being remodeled, and the guy that was doing that ended up saying, hey, before I was getting ready to leave Ohio, he said, hey, what did you think about that lightning the other day? And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, two trees over in our backyard got hit by lightning. I was just wondering if you were here and you heard it. And I asked him to let me see it. And I used to have pictures of this stuff. And he walked me over to the backyard, and there was 2 trees. And you could see that the bolt of lightning hit the bottom of the tree trunk, and it sent a burn mark the whole way up these trees. That's the exact same night that I sat straight up. Was it the fear of the lightning and thunder and all that other stuff that made me sit up? I don't know. But I felt like something happened, like the electrical current of something happened to me, and I sat up that day. And that's why I sat up. In that same room that I was in, I also believed that I had an out-of-body experience. And what I mean by that is, one night, whether I was sleeping and it was a dream or not, can I tell you that I ended up getting out of my body, but I didn't know how I did it. And I was so excited about this, and I was kind of crawling around on the bed, and I heard a voice which I thought was God in love and very peacefully asking me to get back inside my body. That I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for that level or whatever. I still have time here on this earth. But I didn't want to get back in my body. I was overwhelmed with this. I thought this was a great experience. Was it a dream or not a dream? I don't know. I'm not here to dispute that. This is the crazy stuff that happened to me, okay? Was it because I was so consumed with these books? By this time, understand, not only am I involved in those 2 ministries and reading the Bible, I am also now getting every book I can at the library for positive thinking, psychology, the power of the mind. I'm just constantly saturating my stuff in all this literature. And let me tell you something, it warped my mind. I realize that now. Because I'm taking what I'm reading as being very true. And in spite of it all, I'm doing a lot of bizarre things, what people perceive as crazy. In this room and the next room that I ended up having, I had to change rooms eventually because staring out the same window, I always wanted a different life, and I didn't know how to get that life. I've changed a lot since then, but for some reason I was under the illusion that there was a much different life out there in the world for me. And I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know how to achieve it. I didn't know how to do it. I don't know how to do life. Even to this day, I don't know how to do life. I know a little bit more, and I'm a little more educated in it, but I really don't. And my desires are now much differently. Before I wanted a lot of different things, and now I really just want to be Tracilyn and do my passions in life and be loved. You know, be in a healthy living environment and be loved by someone. But at that time, I'm still adventure seeking, thinking that there's more in life and that I want to do different things. And it led me out to do a lot of bizarre things. But can I tell you something? I decorated my whole room because I was applying everything that I was being taught watching these ministries and the stuff that I was reading. And can I tell you, I would decorate my wall with all this positive stuff because up to that point, let me just say that with the same gentleman that was helping me, one time I ended up playing an open mic night at a very popular club, and I felt, it was bad enough I felt like an outcast in life, but let alone going there because a lot of people were doing the drag queen thing, and, you know, although I love watching them perform, it's not for me. I'm a singer-songwriter. And I don't look at myself as you know, and under any of the other labels other than transsexual lady. I'm okay with that, but the other labels I don't. So when I go, I'm not into karaoke, I'm not into lip syncing, I'm not into everything else. I want to play my guitar. So all these other people that are at this club, they're doing wonderful performances and doing things totally different than me. I step out old-timerish with a guitar and I sing. So I feel outcast a little bit there. Not necessarily outcast, but different. Because there was a lot of nice people that were there. But can I just tell you that when I got off the stage, with everything that I've been through, what I wanted more than anything was the people that were supposedly there supporting me to kind of cheer me on. And can I tell you that I don't remember exactly what was said at this time, but that same gentleman who was helping me, whatever he said or however he reacted, my fault because of the way I perceived it, my feelings were hurt. I needed somebody and I wanted somebody to kind of cheer me on, and even if they were lying, to just say, you know, you did great, that was great, even though I know it wasn't, you know, because I was so scared. Just because I always feel so different everywhere I go. I wasn't even as scared to go down in Nashville, although I feel different being a transgender lady. I felt more like I kind of fit in because there's other people with acoustic guitars, and I love sharing the stage with people. And, you know, there's just such a warm welcoming when you're there by the people who host it. I always felt very relaxed when I went there. But for some reason I didn't there that night at this club. So that bugged me. So then, because I grew up in an environment similar to that you know, always wanting people to kind of want to cheer me on and stuff like that, never having that in my life, I guess I was kind of seeking that out. And some people can say, well, that was wrong on me. I don't know. You can think of it whatever you want to think. But I felt that I needed it, and I didn't receive it. So I felt kind of bad about that, and that just contributed to me feeling low. There were times that we went out, and like I said, remember I told you the same person who was helping me didn't make sense because they're helping me financially and stuff, but they're going around telling the whole world about every detail in my life, and they're painting a really ugly picture of who I am. So now we go out to this club the one night, and understand I'm trying to get away from it. So when I go there, I don't know what else to do. You get a drink, you drink. I don't want to drink, but I'm drinking. And I ended up meeting, you know, a girl, a genetic girl. And she ended up talking to me while he and other people were at the bar. We were in another room, and she told me, she said, you know, I just spoke with your friend over there, and you know, he told me that you have a mental problem. So now I'm finding out that he's going around telling everybody, even if I do, that's totally disrespectful for people to go around and telling everybody your challenges in life. So now I'm finding out that he's going around telling everybody that I have a mental issue. And whether I do or not, it's you can only imagine how I felt by meeting somebody, and I'm there and I'm trying to have a good time, and meanwhile people are gossiping about me in that same facility. It's like, why am I even here? Why are you even helping me? I do not understand this or get this. The same people helping you are the same people tearing you down. So there was many times that I would be back in my bedroom, so depressed, hugging my pillow. I couldn't get out of bed. I just felt totally defeated all the time. And I'm not piecing this together with, why I can't connect with somebody. Ever since I came out, my life has really went upside down. Understand, this is how I used to feel. I'm not saying that's how I feel now. Oh, I've learned a lot and I've come a long way. I don't need people's approval for myself anymore. I don't need it. However, I finally realized that I'm already defeated and I love myself too much to live on the streets, because I know the worst of things in life will happen to me there. I won't let myself go through that. And it's not because I couldn't handle it. It's because I couldn't handle all the abuse that would be coming my way. Human nature at its finest. I have learned about that. I'm not willing to put myself through it anymore. This is as low as I go. There was a lot of people moving in and out of the house because, of course, this gentleman wants to help a lot of people. And we all have our own struggles. We're all dealing with our own things. To me, the more that I kept trying to get away from the things that I've been trying to get away from, started entering into my life through others that were coming there to get help. And I kept insisting in my struggles with it about making that environment as drama-free as possible, and keeping the alcohol and cigarette smoke and drugs and all that stuff out of there. Not just for me, but for everybody. If you're going to do this stuff, I'm trying very hard to get my life straightened out and get this stuff out of it. And if it keeps being invited into the house, I'm not going to, because I'm not strong enough. And I keep praying to a God to help me and give me the strength. And let me tell you something, there is no God that does that. I can't tell you how many times I fell flat on my face. I'm stuck in cigarette addictions. I can't break it. And I'm stuck in my alcohol and I can't break it. And I'm praying to a God to help me. There is no God that ever helped me. Okay, you'll find that out because I finally, number one, my body has been rejecting it. Obviously, listen to my voice. A lot of that is being in the dry heat all the time. And now I'm sick. But my body started rejecting it. I can't do it. If I drink, I get sick. I really do. I just can't do it anymore. Everything dries me out. I'm trying so hard to connect with these other people, and I have had amazing adventures in that. But as I'm trying to get my life straightened out and all these things are going on, let me just tell you that it wasn't easy for any of us, to be dealing with each other's issues in life. So I started realizing that everything in a sense that I was praying for and believing in, I was getting, only I was not capable of handling it at all. Not in an ever-changing environment. Now, I've also started decorating my room with everything possible. Visions and pictures that would make me at peace in my heart. I was being honest with myself about what's in my heart, my dreams and ambitions, because I was being spoke of so negatively a lot of times throughout life. I started putting little positive inspirationals, printing them out all over the bedroom. And can I tell you, though it was nobody's business what was in my bedroom except for, I guess, the owner, let me just tell you that everybody who peeked inside my bedroom and seen this, I was a mockery and I was laughed at. Yet I was bedridden and traumatized from my whole life situation, and I was doing everything I could to be my own cheerleader. I was constantly being laughed at and humiliated and ridiculed for everything that I did to try to build myself up. Everything. Let me tell you something. Dealing with the world and the way that we treat others when we're out living outside our house is is hard enough, but when we're dealing with it living under a roof of people who are constantly bombarding and talking negative of you, gossiping, making fun of you, let me just say that nobody's strong enough to go through that. I don't know what else to do. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I'm trying everything I can. There was a time that things were beginning to escalate, and somebody had moved in there, or not moved in, somebody had been staying over there that had HIV. And I've been going through so much in my life. It was a miracle that I came out and I don't have any diseases. I do not judge anybody for anything. It is a miracle because I was an escort for years, and I've slept with a lot of people in my private life and so on and so forth. It is a miracle that I came out clean. I was always trying to be as safe as I could. I got regular checkups and stuff like that. And can I just tell you that I started realizing more and more with the different people that were moving in and visiting the house and leaving, the drama and stuff that was going on, that not everybody is at the same wavelength in their thinking and their perspective and their ways of living. Everybody lives very much differently. I'm not here to say my way's any better than anybody else's, but can I just say that I was traumatized when one day when I woke up and I went to the bathroom and there was blood all over the floor and in different areas of the house. I don't know what happened exactly, but can I tell you that I found out that there was this person there that had HIV, and that's who it was from. And you call me ignorant if you want to call me ignorant. I was so terrified. I was so scared because I'm dealing with everything I am in my life, and I don't know how to deal with this. And in a spiritual sense, I don't feel led at this time in my life to really be going to extremes. And I got to be careful with myself. So I tried having a talk with him about this, and I told him, that situation there, no matter who it was, if it was me or him or whoever, you spill blood on the floor or whatever, we need to get it cleaned up with bleach or whatever we can. And that's the kind of stuff that can lead into infecting and affecting other people's life negatively. And I'm telling you that a lot of stuff that was going on within the house, I won't go into all the details, but can I just tell you that I started realizing that everybody lives differently. And more so than not, it's not a healthy match for me. I live differently, and my ideas and everything and concepts of life are much different. That's all. So, can I tell you, with that being said too, with HIV and different diseases, can I tell you that a lot of people look at transsexuals, because I'm not a very sexual, I'm a sexual person, but I'm not a sex person. I do not have a lot of sex anymore with people. I wanted to get my life straightened out, and I want to kind of minimize the amount of people that I'm with. And can I tell you that as I'm trying to get my head right and stuff even more so, I want to stay away from that. I'm trying to separate myself from a lot of the stuff that I feel is kind of confusing me for now. I want to get to know who Tracilyn is what I'm finding out. In the end, I'll share that with you, hopefully. But I'm trying to figure myself out, and dealing with all these other people's things that they're going through in their life is very hard on me, okay? I definitely wasn't ready for that. And I love every one of them. And I'm not here to say anything bad about anything that went on. We were all going through our own things, and my heart saddened by a lot of the stuff that other people had to go through themselves, their other addictions and things. And that just put a line of terror in me, And I don't know, it seemed like the more I was trying to get away from everything, the more that things started to build up. And one of the reasons why I didn't want to have intimacy so freely with people is because I started realizing that, a lot of people, they don't have too many standards, and they will take more risks than I'm willing to take risks. And what I mean by that is, when I found out there were times that I was kind of being pressured into having intimate relationships with different people, and that they were trying to be with me intimately, and then I would find out after the fact that they did have a disease or something. Can I tell you what that mixed feelings, but how that affects your heart, that affects your mind? And that happened to me a few times, that I found out that somebody had HIV, and I'm thinking to myself, why would you be trying to get with me all this time? And then after days, weeks, what have you, of you trying to get with me, that you would end up saying this. I'm not saying this specific person, I'm saying other people, other people that I have met in my walk of life. And I gotta tell you, I'm so grateful that I'm not so free like everybody else thinks that a transsexual should be. I'm a transgendered lady, but I do have my morals may be different than a lot of people's. And I'm very grateful sometimes that it was, because I can only deal with so much. My life has been a tragedy, as it is. I can't imagine how scared I used to be to go get tested for diseases, thinking that it's only going to be true now that I'm infected with all kinds of things, because I've just been so free with myself. And I wanted to get away from all that lifestyle. I really did. And other people live that way, that's great for you. I'm not knocking it down, but it's just not for me anymore. You know, it's not for me anymore. So another situation that happened there as well was the Elvis Velvet Ice Cream. This happened in 2011. And I was standing in the kitchen, and I think I shared this in another video, so I ain't going to go a whole lot of detail, but I was thinking to myself, I ended up getting red velvet ice cream, and I put this Trader Joe's organic chocolate syrup, is one of my favorite syrups to have, and I put this on, and I was in the kitchen with the gentleman who owned the house, and I remember thinking to myself, we were talking about some serious issues. Understand, I have forgiveness over a lot of things. I'm trying to help our relationship to work. I do care about him. I look at him as my dad. We're both staggering through. Understand, through the years, our life started getting better. Our relationship started getting healthier and better to a point. But we're both staggering with this, trying to find our way in life. And I remember thinking to myself a certain question that I'm never even going to share, because I feel kind of foolish that I asked this question in my head. And all of a sudden I looked down at my ice cream, my red velvet ice cream, and there I saw this Elvis art. I was just blown away by it. So much I seen the lion, the tiger or the lion's head immediately, and I saw a little Elvis with his arm around it. And I got so excited that I went and I took pictures of it. I didn't know what to do with this ice cream. I wanted so bad to call Elvis Enterprises or something. I didn't know what to do. And I remember taking it to him. This was another situation. I took it to him, and there was no enthusiasm. There was no excitement about it. It was just like, oh, yeah, whatever. And can I just tell you that going through life with all the things that I've been through and not having people in your life to share excitement, things that get you excited about life, when you don't have people to share with you in your life, that excitement, at least to some level, is very painful. You want other people to be excited with you. And I understand that it's not. You know, other people get excited for different reasons, so that broke my heart. So I noticed also while I was living there that there was a lot of people now starting to talk very negatively about me, continuously, always gossiping. Before, and I figured this out by the time I left there, this last time, is before people even moved in there, they were already pre-warned about how horrible of a person I was. So they came in with the mindset that Tracilyn is not is a very negative person, you know, and whatever else they think, stories that were said. So people, they allowed themselves to have this vision of who Tracilyn is. So they walked in, and guess what? The more that time went on, the more and more people started mistreating me, treating me less than. I was not being respected, especially at the end of the time that I lived at this place. It's another Cinderella story. And I'll talk about that later on after my Vegas, but I started realizing somehow, some way, I was under the belief that somehow this gentleman was also communicating with these ministries, Joyce Myers and Joel Osteen. I don't know if it's true or not. This is the things that I'm feeling. I'm feeling that he's sharing my whole life story with everybody and anybody out there. I'm believing there's a large group of people that are getting regular updates, daily updates, or weekly updates on what is happening now in the life of Tracilyn. And I still believe that very strongly. And did these people really want to help me? Or what have you? No matter how you look at it, if they really did want to help me, that's great. But in the same token, understand with me being under this awareness that my life story was being shared with a lot of other people, without my approval, by the way, that I've been totally feeling violated, through the process of being there. So now when I'm looking at these ministries and watching their blogs and stuff like that, sometimes you get so wrapped up into things like that, whether it's true or not, and you believe that they're actually talking to you. And can I tell you, there's danger in that. Because now you start applying the things in the life, it seems very relative to what it is that you're going through that day or you have been going through that week. You start applying this stuff into your life, and you're manipulating your mind to see the good in everybody rather than the negative. And can I tell you, it's just setting you up for more and more abuse. I remember at one time, I was so under the impression that everything was my fault. I didn't recognize human behavior at this time. And I'm trying so hard to be more positive. And can I tell you, I got to the point that I was actually found at a desk with my hands shaking and tears just streaming, pouring from my eyes. And if you ever saw the Jim Carrey movie where he's saying the pen is blue, but I guess it's red or something, I don't know, or it is blue, but he's trying to say it's a different color. But he can't lie, a liar. Well, that's how I was, is I started to write down everything I was thankful for, every detail of my body, everything in that house, everything in my relationships, everything in my life. And I was shaken so much because it was so hard for me to be thankful, because it seemed to me like in my life, everything that could was going wrong. And I was drawing more and more negativity to me no matter what I was trying to do. And I was being constantly ridiculed and made fun of by everybody I came in contact with. And a lot of the comments that were being made is that I had mental issues. So I'm here to say, yes, I have a mental illness. It makes it easier to deal with when I look in the mirror. I mean, it's hard for me not to say I don't have a mental illness, considering everything I've been through. It's hard. It's easier for me when I talk to other people now. I just tell them I have a mental illness. I have to surrender to what everybody else is telling me. You know, I was stupid and I believed that we are not what other people say we are. But what we are, what we believe we are. Can I tell you, which I want to talk about that after Las Vegas, but I've learned no matter how much you believe about yourself when the world around you is beating you up, verbally, mentally, you start to surrender to it. You can't fight it. Humans, you are not strong. People are not strong enough to keep on combating that. At least I'm not. After everything I've been through in my life, and it doesn't stop. Instead of people elevating me and cheering me on and being supportive, I'm having a constant tear down, control, manipulate, oppress, strip me away of everything that I love. Down-talked. I'm here to say nobody likes me. Nobody likes the real Tracilyn. I did. But nobody else likes me. And I can't do life alone. If I'm the only one in the world that likes myself, then I have a mental illness. The world isn't ready for me. So we're dealing with this drugs, cigs, alcohol, and all this different drama. All of our lives bleeding into the lives of other. We're all trying so hard. Let me tell you, being a transsexual lady is one of the hardest things that a person can go through in their life. I'm realizing that. So here I have notes. I was decorating my room for inspiration. I was laughed and spoke negatively of continuously because of that. because of that. You want to know, this is the same house that I ran on the treadmill. I got a treadmill. I put an ad out. I was very blessed because I put an ad out there that, my circumstances, we're trying to have a home ministry, and we're low on finances. If there's anybody with a treadmill, would you please donate it? Well, somebody did donate me a treadmill, and I loved it. To me, that was God. God is helping me and helping the home ministry. So I used to run on that treadmill. And can I tell you that I even got laughed at for that? I'm a physical fitness person. Unfortunately for me, I was around a lot of people my whole life that are not interested in physical fitness. They're not interested in healthy living. And I don't mean that to be mean. I'm just saying that we all have different ideas of what's healthy and not. And, I would get laughed at for that. The people that were closest to me were laughing at me because I was working out. It's kind of ridiculous, don't you think? Why is everybody bombarding me with everything? They're laughing at my room because I'm trying to decorate it and lift my own spirits up, because I realize in life I got to be my own cheerleader. I got to get my head thinking positive through all the negative. I work out. It helps me mentally. I even did that in mental facilities. I'd walk around. I try to monitor my weight because I want to look in the mirror and feel good about myself, and I want to get my head straight. I'm being laughed at for everything in this house. I can't do one thing right. Understand this. I can't do one thing right in this house, and you'll find out even with the jobs that I got. I was just constantly being humiliated. And it got worse and worse as time went on. That's why I'm now homeless and I'm living on a credit card. So I was down to when I was playing out. The things that I was passionate about and set me on fire in life were, let's just say that my idea of ministering and this gentleman's idea of ministering were two totally different things. I've been through a lot. Understand, I'm an adventure person, so I went to all kinds of LGBT gatherings, clubs. I've seen the different things that people were doing, and more so than not, I want to live whatever a normal life is. I want to get out there and start living it. I wanted to go bowling or get people active and doing things, but a lot of the places that we went to, everybody's at different levels. You'll find out a lot of people that are transsexuals, they just want to live their life normally, get together once in a while with other transsexuals, but for the most part, they just want to live their life. And when you're doing it part-time and you're a cross-dresser, so to speak, and you're trying to balance your life, what ends up happening is you don't want to go out in public because you have a lot to lose when you do that. So instead of going bowling, going out and doing other things, what I perceived as being healthier, like a movie night or doing things like that, it was a lot of times we were sitting around eating and doing a lot of talking. And to me, I wanted to do more active things and more different things. That's all. So everybody has a different idea of how to minister. I should have been just doing my music the whole time. I didn't realize that then. I realize it now. So I'm feeling like I'm not fitting in even with the community. It's a lot of older cross-dressers and stuff that I'm being surrounded by. Occasionally I would meet some beautiful young transgendered ladies and stuff, and we would get to connect. I always love to meet the transgendered men. I really do like transsexual men, are very attractive to me. I really like them a lot. They're always so cute, and it's amazing the transitional walk, that how they end up looking and their whole attitude in life because they went through so many struggles. It's so great. I'm not into karaokeing or doing a lot of the things. Understand this. Once you hear my other story after Las Vegas, I'm not understanding at this time why I'm not really fitting in with people, but it's because I'm not doing the things in life that I'm most passionate about. I found out while living there, the only way that I could connect with people is if I stepped into their world, so to speak. So whatever they were passionate about or doing, if I contributed myself to doing the things in life they were passionate about, then it worked out. And I'm pretty good at oppressing myself in that fashion. A lot of people that I knew were into computers and doing games and stuff like that. I am not. Anybody who knows me knows I don't even like being on the computer at all. Music. I should have been doing music and networking more and more with musicians. another artist and things like that, and being more true to myself as to who I am and my passions in life. So I was just pretty much bored with everything, and I'm not on into the internet and playing around online. It seemed like the more people I met on the computer were not the same people when you would meet them in person. And I know a lot of you had gone through this. You know, who you meet online, for me, is who you meet here in person. I like to be the same person no matter where I am. And I don't like having all the different alias accounts and things like that. I have Facebook. Anybody who knows me, I'm always on Facebook, and that's it. And I don't even like going on that, to be honest with you. I really don't. I'd rather be living my life doing the things that I love. Real life experiences. So, you know, I'm struggling now as an artist because I'm doing covers years ago to make a living. I'm spending a lot of time playing alone when I want to play with other musicians, and here's my story with that really quick. It seemed that no matter when I would have the opportunity to play with musicians outside of going to Nashville, I would end up meeting people that there wasn't chemistry. It just was not a healthy chemistry. And I'm going to leave it like that because I don't want to say anything and hurt anybody's feelings. But with the exception of a few, it was just an unhealthy chemistry. When I would go down to Nashville, it never failed within 10 or 15 minutes. I mean, musicians that are there, they're there, they want to play with people. They want to connect with people. They want to connect with other writers, or if somebody's an instrumentalist, they want to play along with somebody. If they're attracted to you for whatever reason, they'll play along with you. What my story is, normally, not always, but normally when somebody, especially a guy, would find out, I should say a guy, when a guy would find out that I was a transsexual lady, he wouldn't want nothing to do with me. You want to talk about a lot of pain and a lot of hurt. I have to tell guys straight up that I'm a transsexual lady because I've never had my surgery. And after having my surgery, encounters and in passing, would I share that with other people? Let me tell you, that's a whole other story to share. I'd rather be with somebody who loves me unconditionally and that doesn't care about the body part that I have. But can I tell you, that's just a fairy tale life, because more so than not, people have things to lose by being with a transgendered lady. So I stand alone pretty much in the world is the way that I see it, and most transgenders probably feel the same way. So I'm not connecting with people musically at that time. I'm a slow learner. I found out in later years, and now leaving Ohio and stuff, that there were lots of opportunities that I was starting to step into, but I couldn't keep my life going there. I couldn't oppress myself anymore, and things were beginning to happen. I have that to explain too. But so at that time, I'm talking in 2009 up till Las Vegas, I'm not connecting with other musicians. Everybody's at a different caliber. I usually find out that most times outside of going to places like Nashville and stuff like that, when I'm playing, not always, but most of the time when I'm playing with other people, usually I have to oppress my playing style and stuff because I play weird, different. I just play different. And a lot of times when people are playing with me, they don't grab hold of what it is that I'm doing. So whenever I go down to Nashville, I'd always end up meeting guys that had no problem jumping right in and playing with me. I was always so thankful for that. I wanted to experience more of that. That's why another reason why I wanted to move down to Nashville. So I started living at this house. I started trying several times to start a children's ministry. Understand, it's not clear exactly to me how to do this. The God out there is not telling me exactly what to do in detail, so I'm attempting to do stuff. And you will see, if I had more time to show you, that I had a very Midwestern girl appearance. And I remember I had a brochure already. This was so hard. I've been crying every day. Understand, me getting through this has been the most painful experience. I am at the lowest mentally that I have ever been in my whole life. I cry every day, all day long. I'm trying to put things together. I'm feeling alone in my walk in doing this. But I remember I had this picture together. I made this brochure. And what I was feeling of doing is I didn't know how to do it, but I was going to start going to hospitals, healthcare facilities. Understand this, I'm not trying to make money. I'm giving up my life to be in a ministry, to create a ministry so that I can reach out to other people and therapeutically help them with music. But I guess it was me that I was supposed to be given therapy to. So, as I put together this brochure, it was so professional. Much different than after Las Vegas. This was so professional. And can I tell you that as I started doing the business cards and doing this brochure, I didn't know, all I know is I didn't want to go back to the old life I had. And I'm trying to create a ministry now because I went to this church. And can I tell you that the church that I was going to, the LGBT church, can I tell you that I went in and pleaded with my heart that I felt like God was calling me into a children's rock and roll ministry, and I didn't know how to get it started or where to go. But I figured that since there's so much available space here at the church, and during the weeknights nobody's really doing anything, maybe I could start doing it there. And maybe with some guidance and stuff, maybe this will manifest into something exciting for the youth, for teenagers and stuff, or children. I wasn't clear if it was teenagers, if it was children's that I was reaching out to or what. But because of the other ministries I have been exposed to, I wanted to have a kick-butt rock and roll ministry that I felt that God was calling me to. And I figured, these other straight-laced churches can do it. Why can't the LGBT community do it? So I was on fire for doing this. And can I tell you, I was hurt really bad when the pastor felt very strongly in opposition. And the pastor at that time, and can I tell you that it just turned my stomach. I didn't want anything to do with that church afterwards. Less and less. They were judging me. They were judging me because I was an escort. They were judging me because they also knew everything that the guy that I was living with, he told them everything. The dangers in that. He went around telling everybody everything about my life. Now, everybody that I meet thinks negative of me. So because I was an escort, because I had my own struggles in life, let me just say that the best thing that I could do is get involved. Get involved so I can get away from all the negative stuff. But everybody's saying no to me. And he warned me about the dangers of ministering to youth, being a transsexual lady or being gay. That there's dangers in that because the way that things can happen sometimes, with the world, the way it is, people's judgment and ridicule and stuff. And I'll explain about that in my Las Vegas adventure, why I believe very much so and what he said about that is true. But he wouldn't give me a time or day for that. And this church was doing a lot of old school stuff, very old worship style. And can I tell you, I really believe much strongly that the reason why there wasn't so many people going there and that we had the ability to do it was that they needed to come up more with the modern age, with modern music and modern technology, and reach out. And people were overtaken by it. They were happy with their ministry the way it was, and Tracilyn was stepping out of line by talking about it. So I gave up, and I just kind of walked away from that. I'd love to talk about that more. I really did, because that really bugged me that I was being judged, and all I wanted to do is really do something worthwhile. So now I put together this brochure. I figured I better do something on my own. And can I tell you, because I was using the resources provided by this guy, he was in full control over what I could do and what I couldn't do. And can I tell you that despite the several attempts that I have made to start off a ministry, every time I started printing something out, every time I started getting excited about it, he shut me down. He wouldn't let me use the printer. And his exact words were, "Go get a job." And I told him I'm not being called to get a job. I'm called to start off a ministry, and it's going to take me time. I don't even know how this is going to work out, but I need to. So because he was providing all the resources and stuff, and he kept shouting at me to get a job, eventually you'll find out that I did get a job. And let me tell you, I was humiliated over that. I was treated really badly about the fact because I couldn't get a job that paid enough to even take care of myself. So this gentleman here didn't believe in using the resources that the state or the local county would provide. And let's just say that his whole idea of life is much different than what I'm learning in my own idea about how to get help, and one should help themselves and utilize the resources that are available. But he was totally against that. So I don't want to get too far ahead. So starting children's ministry, that was a really horrible experience, because I tell people like this: every time I stepped up to the plate to do what was in my heart, he shut me down. He shut me down with his words. He shut me down by not allowing me to use the resources that were there, like the printer. It's costing money. You're using my ink, stuff like this. How am I supposed to get my life started when I have no resources and I have no money? Get a job. Go get a job. I can't get a job. Go get a job. Figure it out. The famous words that I hear from anybody who's ever offered any kind of living was figure it out. Figure it out yourself. You expect people to do it for you. You got to figure it out. You got to go through it and do it yourself. Okay? Understand that the whole thing that was on the bridge is I'm being called into a rock and roll ministry. Okay? So now I'm feeling that he's sharing my whole life story with a whole bunch of other people. I'm going to tell you straight up that I believe that there's a lot of people that made a lot of money off my life story. And I know that may think I'm crazy or whatever, but with him being the main source, sharing my life story, let me just say that if these ministries were really trying even to help me, or whoever was, when they're inspired by my life, and then they're going out and they're using this, whether it's to write a book of inspiration, or if they're doing a video series on trying, to minister to me or whatever. They're raising finances. They're raising all kinds of things. They are profiting off my life. They're profiting off my life without my permission. Whether their intentions are good or not. Meanwhile, I'm going through the biggest struggles that a person could ever go through. And what I need is a healthy, safe, drama-free living circumstance, and somebody to really help me get started with a plan. I'm not even smart enough to put together a plan for myself. So meanwhile, my story is being shared, all the details of my life. I'm being spoke of very negatively to everybody. If these ministries are really receiving this information like I believe they are profiting off my life story. It's different if I put my life story out there like I have. But considering the privacy of my home, I look down on that, very much so. Devastated over the thought that could be very true. And can I just say that at one time I did do a little snooping myself, and I found out, in some of his emails that he was sending different information about my life to other people. So I know that this was his kind of personality. Who it was being sent to and stuff, I don't really know. And I know he was involved in other ministries and stuff like that, because he was a licensed pastor. And can I just tell you that bothered me. I don't want people going around sharing my life story, and I sure as heck don't want people profiting off of it if they're not going to give me the help that I really need, or the resources that I need to get my life straightened out. So go get a job. That was his magic words. Go get a job. After everything I've been through, and I've been trying to give up my old life and my selfish ways, I'm feeling led into a rock and roll ministry. I just don't know how this is all going to work out. So let me see, what else do I have here? I can't tell you how many times I stood up to the plate to try to start getting my life straightened out, because it wasn't somebody else's idea of how I should be living my life and how the ministry should be, even though I'm staggering and trying to figure it out. I was shut down every single time. Every time I started to set out to do something to what I perceived as bettering my life, can I just tell you, I was shut down, and on top of it, continuously, it was in my head that if I don't live life the way that I'm told to live life while I was there, then I'm kicked out. I was asked to leave. Then if I don't like it, his exact words were, if you don't like it, move. If you don't like it, move. If you don't like it, move. Imagine hearing that on a weekly basis, several times a month. If I did not meet the expectations of what I should be doing with my life, then I was told to move. I did not have a safe, drama-free home. And I have more to share about that home environment once I get going here a little bit. So I explained about the out-of-body experience, about the lightning. I started to realize that I was becoming a robot at some point. And can I tell you, I was standing in a kitchen in a dress, very Midwestern-y in appearance, and I was cutting something, and anybody who knows me knows I'm not good with power tools, and I'm definitely not good with knives or in the kitchen. It's not my passion in life. Definitely not talented at this. And all of a sudden it hit me. He's programmed me with his words. Everything, his whole idea of the way Tracilyn should be living life was becoming. And I was starting to lose myself again. So because I was being taken care of and I didn't know what else to do with my life, I had to pretty much do whatever was asked of me. You know, within reason. It's not like nothing horrible was asked, but you know, strong. Can I just say the power of suggestion? You got to be careful with that. There are people who are fully aware of it, that if they put the certain words into your head, that we are programmable. Our minds are very much like our computers, and he used the power of suggestion continuously. He knew the things that I allowed affect me, to oppress me, to get me into the bed. And it always seemed that in my can I just say, in my perception of it all, it seemed like he was okay with me being bedridden and traumatized into oppression, being stripped of everything that I love in life and being in bed, that there was some kind of power trip that it might not be true, but I'm just saying it felt after some time like he started getting his kicks out of the fact that he could keep me in the bed crying. The more that I started sharing time with him, I was basically, if I wanted to receive the financial help, which I was receiving, and stuff, that I had to pretty much live into his expectation and idea of how Tracilyn should be living her life. So, with that being said, I started dressing the way he did, that he preferred that I dress. When it came to eating, I had to eat the food that obviously was provided for me, and I had to eat when he seemed fit. So basically, it started becoming more and more dominant, the way that I was being programmed, that I had to live life to the way that everything that was expected that Tracilyn should be doing under that roof. I eat when he eats, to the point that even things, little knickknacks and stuff, or sponges, like the spongy to wash dishes on the sink, if it was moved to a certain location, he had it in his head, it had to be at a location. And this is how bad things started to get. If I washed dishes and did not put that sponge back at the exact same place that he wanted it, he would totally flip out on me. I had to do everything. And this was starting to get out of control. I had to do everything that I did do to his standard and expectation of the way it should be. And because he lived a different way than I did, I had to brainwash myself to adapt to that way of living. Because I didn't know what else to do with my life. I didn't know where else to go. And it seemed that with my spirit, as sensitive it is, no matter where I went, I was dominated and controlled. Let me tell you something, when you fall into the bottom of the barrel and you can't take care of yourself and you're dependent on the world around you, it seems to me like people take advantage of that solely to have a slave in their presence. I would never dream of purposely doing that to somebody, and I don't recall ever doing that. But let me just say to you that since I've lost everything in my life and my home, I can honestly say that no matter what it seemed that I did, if I wasn't living into people's expectations, then I don't have a home. And that was what was the only thing that was held over me while I was in Ohio. Where else do I have to go? What am I going to do? I can't live on the street. And I could go into the details of this, and you can laugh at this, but I mean, it was more and more and more of things like that sponge. That if I wasn't doing things a certain way, or I had to wash the dishes a certain way, and I had to do things a certain way when putting groceries away, or I had to do everything to match his idea of the way everything should be in that house and including my life. Meanwhile, he's going around and tearing me apart, speaking very negatively about me to everybody. To everybody. He's also forwarding, I guess, these ministries, the daily rituals of everything that I'm going through in my life, painting me up as a very bad person to these people, that I'm not getting it, and that I'm messed up in the head and stuff like that. There was mind games played with me that it'd be, like I said, because I had to eat when he wanted me to eat, I would end up sitting down at the table, finding myself that I am now living a whole life in opposition of who Tracilyn is. I'm eating when he wants to eat, not when I want to eat. I'm eating what he wants me to eat instead of what I want to eat. Because he was a meat eater, for instance, I had to eat meat because that's what was being provided. And in a way it makes sense, but it was definitely not right for me. And though there was kicking and screaming about the fact that I should be down there eating with him and be respectful over the situation because he is helping me, made sense, I would end up sitting down and having dinner with him when he wanted to eat. Because I watch my weight and I'm into physical fitness, I would have to monitor how I would eat throughout the day, because when we sit down at dinner, a lot of the stuff that we were eating would settle in my stomach and make me heavier than I wanted it to be. I mean, this stuff is really affecting me. I wish I had more time to talk about this stuff. But can I tell you, I went through all this stuff to arrange and to sit down and eat with him. And then I would try to hold a conversation with him, and it never failed if the phone would ring or he just totally blocked me out. Mentally, I was treated like garbage. Totally mistreated and like I didn't matter at all. Whether it was on purpose or not on purpose. I've noticed that whenever I would talk, there would be no enthusiasm in anything that I said. I would also realize that after all the fighting and yelling about because I don't want to eat, not with him, it's just I eat different times. I eat when I'm hungry, I eat out of necessity, not out of desire. I'm really, anybody who knows me, food is not a huge thing for me. I only eat because I absolutely have to, and if I do, I want to eat what I want to eat, and I want to eat as healthy as possible. Right now, I'm not eating healthy at all. So when I sit down there, because somebody's making a big deal out of it, when I start talking to them and stuff, and they're ignoring me, or if the phone rings, they're running to the phone, literally diving for the phone. I'm like, why am I even here? Why am I doing this? It's like I don't even matter anymore. So at that point, when I started realizing that I am now becoming, even to the point that this started out early, I have to cut everything with a butcher knife the way that I'm told to cut it. No matter how I go about it, if I were to prepare a meal out of the goodness of my heart, people would walk in, or he would walk in, and he would tell me, don't cut it like this, cut it like that. So no matter what I did, I was being told that I was doing it wrong, and this is the way to do it. Let me tell you something. After so many times of that happening, whether it was months or a year or 2 years, can I tell you, I just got to the point, you cook. I'm tired of attempting to do things out of my heart, and it's not being appreciated. I'm being mocked over everything that I do. When I stay in Pennsylvania, I'm being mocked because the way I go to the bathroom. Because the way that I live life, people are trying to understand me instead of just accept me. When I'm living out in Ohio, I'm being down-talked all the time. I'm having my whole life story shared with the world without my permission. I am becoming a robot. Totally not appreciated. Or that's how I felt. Every time I stand up to do what's in my heart, I am being knocked down for it. Continuously. It never stops. To the point that I am so scared to do anything that I want to do anymore. Can you imagine that? I was scared because I'm the kind of person, when I set out to do something, I put my whole heart, mind, and soul into it. I want to do it. And I don't want to be cut off all the time and told you've got to stop doing it. You can't do it. I never had to go through that at all in my life until living in this situation. Devastated. Nobody likes me. I don't even know what it's like to be Tracilyn anymore because, let me just say, everything that was promised to me on that bridge started to become less and less. I'll never forget when we were driving down the road, briefly into our relationship in 2009, 2010, after he sold the house. It was under my impression that when the house is sold that I would be able to get the help financially to get my SRS done. Can I tell you that there was a time I remember we were driving in the car and I realized he's trying to become very affectionate with me, but understand, it's not that I wasn't ready for a relationship with anyone. I didn't want that. But this is somebody who says they're going to help me and ended up lying about it. And I'll never forget how I felt when he looked at me like he purposely wanted to hurt me. And he told me, he said, he sold the house and stuff like that, but he's not going to be helping me with the SRS. I was blown away by it. I mean, I was really looking forward, looking back now, I personally, I wish I could have a job and get my life together and pay for the own things in my life. But I'll never will be able to, and I'm running out of time. But that traumatized me. Basically, what he was telling me that day is everything that I promised you that I would help you out with the day you were on the bridge and you were going to commit suicide, I'm not going to help you anymore. I felt awful. I felt awful because no matter what I did, it seemed like I was being slammed. So, therefore, I would stay for a while and then I would take off. I don't know what else to do. I'm stuck in this pattern of either living there, living in Pennsylvania, or being on the road as an escort. Nothing else is working out for me. Even to this point. Here it is years later, 2013, and I've had enough. I can't take it anymore. My head is spinning. I feel like I'm on a high, and I'm not. It's all the stress. It's killing me, and I can't take it anymore. I can't allow myself to be on the street after everything that I just endured. I talked about Memphis and going out of the country to try to get the solution to put myself to sleep, more or less. Talked about going to LA. I talked about how my beliefs system now, throughout life was corrupted because we're all programmed and we're all taught through our ancestors and through society that this is the way that one should live their life, and there's kind of like a formula to the way that we should be in this mold. If you're a guy and stuff, the way that you should cut your hair and you should be a person of integrity and live a life this way in this standard. We're not taught individual, and most of us are not taught to seek from within our hearts for the absolute truth. We're taught to seek out God, and then people use the Bible into their own perspective over what God is actually possibly speaking into your life, and it really confuses all of us that way. So I was talking about jobs, and can I tell you that for anybody who thinks I have not tried, I already explained how I tried to get jobs, but when I was in Ohio, not knowing what else to do, knowing I got to start doing something if I want to get out of Ohio someday, and that was my ultimate goal. I want to get out of Ohio. I need to get a job. Maybe I could transfer something within the job that I work at. I don't know how to do it. You know, I don't have an education. I mean, I got my GED. I do not have a college. I don't know what to do. I wasn't thinking about music being everything. I was thinking music as a ministry, not as a job occupation, okay? Let's make that clear. I'm not thinking of it as a job occupation because I don't want to get away from that. I'm thinking of it as a ministry. So can I just tell you that I filled out over 30 applications and I went on countless interviews. I submitted over 100 resumes via online and in different fashions. I counted this stuff. Nothing is happening, no matter what efforts I am trying. And let me tell you that this is a point in my life that I am falling on my knees, praying, God, please help me. Please, I need to get out of this situation I'm in. I need to start becoming self-sufficient. I need to get my life straightened out. I have desires and other things in my life that I'm hungry for, and I don't know what else to do. Everything I attempt to do, I keep falling on my face. Help me, please, to get a job. I don't know how else to do life. I don't know how else to do life. I still, to this day, I don't know how to do life. I give up on trying to I can't do life anymore, okay? So the first job I get, after all these tears and pleading and stress and everything else I went through, can I tell you, it was a job 45 minutes to 1 hour a day, and it was minimum wage. Then it was cleaning banks, you know, cleaning businesses, and I did banks, dusting them, mopping the floor, sweeping. And can I tell you something? I was heartbroken over the fact that I get a job after all my praying, all my beliefs, after everything I've been through, and the best job that I can get is 1 hour, not even 1 hour a day, minimum wage. How's a person going to live on that? It's not even going to pay my gas for me to go to this place, to these different facilities, these different banks work. But I really loved the employer that I was working for, very friendly, and I thought, you know, maybe God, this is a way God will open up other avenues, other doors. I don't know what to believe, but I'm trying to stay positive in this. And can I tell you that I come to the point, I felt so low about myself that this is the best that I could do. Can I tell you that as I was doing my job search, I started reaching out to the people that were visiting that house and talking to this gentleman, as well as a beautiful lady that I love very much, about helping out with a resume, because I really didn't know how to do a resume, and I was trying to figure all this out on my own. And that was the biggest thing when I lived there, is that I got to stop expecting other people to help me, and I need to do it myself. Understand all my stress, everything going on in my head, I really can't. I really do need somebody to sit down with me and help me. Even to this day. But I'll never have that help. And everybody thinks that everybody should think, I'm not as headstrong as you. Let me just put it that way. I'm not as headstrong as you. I'm good at some things, but other things I'm not. So I started creating up my own resume, and I even asked them if they would proofread it. Can I tell you I was laughed at? They didn't want to proofread my resume. They didn't want to help me to get my life together. They were too busy humiliating me and mocking me. That hurt. The only one that I can count on is all by my lonesome is myself. I'm done. Let me just say that now. I'm done doing that. I ain't doing that anymore. I get it. I get it. The whole world. I'm telling you right now, the whole world hates me. I realize that now. I was stupid for believing in a God that doesn't exist. I was stupid to believe that I could ever get my life straightened out. It never got straightened out. And this is the stuff that I went through on a regular basis there, and I couldn't get away from it. I'm trying to get jobs. Let me tell you, as a transsexual lady, it's not easy in a world that's programmed that we're a bunch of freaks. Okay? Now my own household is just beating me up because of this. And can I tell you that because of my circumstances, I was believing that I need to just be thankful for the job I did get, and believe that it's a start and other avenues will open up. And can I tell you that meanwhile, there's a lady that's going over there. She's cheating on her husband with this gentleman, and there's different things going on within the house. And can I tell you, I frown upon that. I really loved her, but I frowned upon that because it's not in my morals. I think if you want to be in an open relationship, then you should let the other partner know. I don't think it should be hidden behind their back. She's going through her own struggle and stuff. So there's a lot of different things that I've seen, very sexual atmosphere, and I'm trying to get away from all this because my beliefs are different. That's all. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just saying my belief systems are different. And can I tell you that I walked in one day and I heard these people laughing at me because and mocking me because all I had was a job that paid minimum wage. 1 hour a day, not even 5 hours a week. I'm praising God over it. That's how stupid I am. I'm trying everything I can to get my life straightened out. At least I got a job. I'm trying. I can't help it. And their whole motive was, I'm a joke. I'm a joke. So I kept going to that job faithfully. I figured, maybe this is getting me closer to my dream. Maybe this is leading me to places that I have no idea. I was wrong for that. Meanwhile, I'm watching these ministries and I'm listening to all this stuff, and let me tell you something, I totally regret it all. I even regret taking that job now. I'm not working for them. They were beautiful people, by the way. I love them. I regret that I did do that. I should have never done it. Now, this progresses to go on. I'm being made fun of because the job that I have doesn't hit everybody's expectation. So I continue on, and I get a call from a retail store in that area. It's one of the biggest, I guess the biggest in the world, so I don't want to go into details about what it was. May I just say, yeah, I'm just going to tell you that I got a call from Walmart. So I was really excited about this because I knew Walmart was tremendously big. They have stores all over the world. You could pretty much relocate anywhere once you move up so far if you can line up other situations. I'm thinking this could be a big step for me because I can't get another job. And I don't know yet, it's not made clear to me yet what I should be doing with my life. So I was really excited, and when I went there, I told the people right away, I'm a transsexual lady. And I'm trying to get my life straightened out, and I would be very grateful to work at their facility because I know that they're supportive of diversity. And I'm very grateful for that because they really are. And the guy and the girl kind of looked at each other and they said, there was no reason for you to tell me that because we couldn't have really told. We couldn't tell until you told us. So he's like, just for the future, I wouldn't tell anybody about it. I'd just live your life and go through. Now, I had mixed feelings because in a way I felt like God was calling me into a rock and roll ministry, but through Walmart, So I was excited about this when I got a job there. Can I tell you that I was there for a little over a year maybe? I forget exactly without looking back on my records. But, I started off in a little bit better salary than I was making at the other job. I had to let that job go because I had to have open availability to work at Walmart. And can I tell you that I was a cashier, and I got to, let me just say that working at Walmart had been, up to that point, one of the most educational experiences that I ever received in my whole life. I learned a lot while working at Walmart. So much that I would love to take a whole video and just explain all the wonderful things that I've learned while being there. I don't have a whole lot of bad things to say at all about that job. I am very grateful to this day that I did work there to experience what I did because it helped me with my confidence. It helped me to have one-on-one conversations. You end up finding out how human nature is, and a lot of the conversations that come up are usually simplified into there's only a few categories that a lot of people will talk about in passing like that. So, I got to learn a lot about myself. I got to gain my confidence. I got to see how other people were while working there. And I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail with that, but I got to learn a lot. And, I got to work with some outstanding people while I was there. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot more about that at this time, but can I tell you that I want to wait till the next time to share what happened as to why I ended up quitting. But can I just say that at Walmart, I found so much joy. I realized that I can be an entertainer no matter where I am. I am an entertainer. There's been people that I met in my walk of life that said, you're always, your problem is you're just always reaching out for attention. You're an attention getter. And can I tell you, it's not true at all. It's who I am.